Everybody, welcome back. It's your three favorite amigos, X's and Knowles, presented by Knowles 24/7. I am Trey Rowland. That is Kevin Little. That is Coach Adam Brown. Today, we're going to be talking about some Florida State football. Camp season is almost it's almost upon us. We've gotten through the dog days of summer. You've wet your beak on some recruiting news, but now it's time to get into the real meaty football discussion, and that's what we're here for. You're three meaty boys. We're here to talk about some football with you. We're going to be breaking down some film today. We're going to be talking about things that we want to see from Florida State's offense in 2024. Now, these are things that you're going to notice, and we're going to say them on the outset of the video before we kind of back it up with film. These are things that we've already seen to be a part of Florida State's offense under Mike Norvell during his tenure at Florida State. But with the current roster that he has and the way they kind of uniquely built it this year with a specific purpose in mind, we're going to be watching Florida State play Miami from last year, and we're going to be highlighting the concepts that we want them to see to emphasize in the offense in 2024, because we expect it to look different because the personnel is completely different on offense from 2023 to 2024. Ain't that right, Adam?
Yeah, I would say there's a hell of a turnover starting at quarterback. So, Jordan Travis out, DJU in, and with that comes an entirely different philosophy, I would think. Well, maybe not entirely different, but a shift in maybe your philosophical beliefs offensively.
Yeah, not so much a shift. And Mike Norvell's always been like an explosive get points guy, but how they're going to do it is different. Kev, Adam touched on the quarterback change. Just before we get to the film, we kind of get to the main concepts that we want to see highlighted in 2024. What do you think the biggest difference is in the skill position from the crop of these 2024 Knowles compared to last year? What do you think the biggest difference is in that skill group?
Yeah, I mean, if you go position by position, DJ is going to be more of a strong-armed power guy, right? He's going to be able to get you that 3rd and 1 where that might not necessarily been Jordan Travis's strength, but he can push the ball downfield in a way that Jordan Travis just couldn't. Then at running back, you don't have Trey Benson anymore. Trey Benson was one of those guys where if you can get him a couple yards, he was elite at scoring touchdowns. He was elite in the second level, but sometimes struggled to get to the second level. I think that's not going to be the case. I think you've got a stable of running backs with different skill sets. Roydell Williams in particular is someone who seems like an all-purpose kind of guy that's going to be able to kind of do a little bit of both. He might not be as, elite as Trayshawn Ward was maybe at navigating tight areas, but he's going to be better than Trey Benson was. And he might not be quite as good as Trey Benson was at breaking off the deep run, but he's going to be better than Trayshawn Ward was. So, I think he's going to be one of those guys that represents a do-it-all back. And then at the wide receiver position, you're losing a lot of height. You're losing Keon. You're losing Johnny, two guys that could just go up and get basically any ball. And you're replacing it with a bunch of speed. This wide receiver room represents more of what you'd see in a typical air raid or West Coast offense kind of room. You have a bunch of guys that are, 5'10" to 6'2" that, can move well, that feel somewhat interchangeable at this point. Guys that you can get fresh bodies on the field. You're rolling 6 deep, 7 deep. You can kind of rotate them in, try to wear down some of these corners with numbers. And it's going to have to be a little bit different. And I think a lot of that's because of the wide receivers. You've got to kind of live with their skill sets. You can't just live off one-on-one deep balls. You've got to be able to kind of manufacture ways for them to get downfield. And part of that starts with the run game, but you got to let them use their speed and let DJ use his arm to let that speed shine.
Well said, boys. So the things that we really want to see, and I don't even know if this is an order of importance, but to me, I think it actually is going to be an order of importance, the way that I'm going to list, because I think they all sort of build off each other. The first thing that we really want to see more of is an efficient running game under this offense. I think what they did, bringing in Roydell Williams, bringing in the 2 interior offensive linemen and Richie Leonard and TJ Ferguson. This is a team where running the ball is going to be paramount, and especially an efficient running game. This is not a team that we want to see behind the chains. And of course, an efficient running game, you bring more guys into the box, and you can also start to work that play action passing game that we've seen be really potent with DJU at Oregon State. So that's the first one. Number two, and this is going to be an Indy Mike Nor offense, so I'm not really worried about this happening, is an explosive passing game. Kevin mentioned the speed. I think that with that efficient running game, you might see some more separation than what you saw last year, even though there's going to be an overall less the talent ceiling of that wide receiver room is going to be lower, but I think there might be a scenario to which you could see actually more separation and more completely free runners just due to the speed of that room. So you need to be able to connect on those deep shots, and it's going to work really well with that interplay of having an efficient running game. Another thing that we want to see is production from the tight end position. You've got a guy, Kyle Morlock, who I think he's coming back. He's your leading receiver from last year, and only a couple hundred.
Wow.
I know that, and that's
254 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he's actually your leading receiver. We've seen DJ Uiagalelei connect with tight ends at Clemson, connect with tight ends at Oregon State. Jordan Travis, for all of his positives as a Florida State Seminole quarterback legend, there did seem to be an unwillingness to work the middle of the field at some point, and that's something that we have seen can be a benefit that DJ can take advantage of and a benefit of the Mike Norvell offense. And the last one for me is pick formations that maximize your roster. So we'll talk about when we're watching Florida State play Miami, when they got into some of these formations. The first thing that sticks out to me with what your running back room looks like and the skill set that they have and kind of the unknown quantity of your wide receiver room, 2 back sets. I want to see a lot of 2 back sets. Dude, if you've watched this show, you've heard it a million times. Less 2 tight end sets, more 2 running back sets. Let's turn on the film and let's kind of highlight when we see some things that we really want to see incorporated more into the Florida State offense in 2024, and maybe some times where they're doing some stuff that we think should maybe be dialed back a little bit. And the cool thing about watching an actual Florida State game from 2023, this isn't conceptual. This is stuff that Mike Norvell already does in his playbook. We just want to see it emphasized more in 2024.
Can I tell a dirty secret?
Oh yeah, I like it real dirty. Yeah, go ahead.
When I'm playing NCAA 25, for those of you that are, you know what I'm talking about. I do run a lot of 12 personnel.
With Florida State?
All right. Yes, with Florida State.
To be fair, this might be the best tight end room they've had since Mike Norvell's got here.
Could be. I would argue last year's was better just because.
It depends on how well Jackson West can block.
Yeah.
And if he stays healthy. They like him this year. So what do we see already out the gate?
Yeah, I mean, it's already, I would assume they're probably in, it looks like they're in 11 personnel early.
Yeah. And I do think they based out of 11.
And motion, which is something Kev would argue. But we know they're on, this is a scripted portion of the game for them. So it's a little more thought out and diverse.
Are they running mesh? I know they're kind of railroading for the back, but no, they're just kind of
setting picks,
picking downfield.
Setting picks.
I'd say with what they have in the slot, motion to a running back out of the backfield with like Toafili and Roydell Williams and Jalen Lucas catching this ball out of the backfield. This one needs to be incorporated for 2024, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Lucas kind of. They did a lot of Jet Series stuff in the spring game. I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of going back to that.
I'm curious, like, if you know how good of a returner he is, like, do you see him lining up, or LT lining up out wide at wide receiver and running some of that triple option stuff we've seen,
like getting quick screens and
pull out of the playbook every once in a while?
Ooh, okay. The play that gave us our namesake back in, what was that, like, was that 2020?
2020 or 2021?
Yeah, whenever they beat UNC, yeah.
Miami here's taking away the run. That's their main goal here.
Counter.
You're kind of running into the teeth of.
We know we're going to see this play.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see more of it as opposed to like inside zone and like duo stuff though with the guys that they brought in?
So yeah, let's watch the scheme.
I would more. I don't know. I don't think you're going to see the number of times they ran it in 2022 when it was basically their bread and butter run play.
Mm-hmm.
I
They ran
think
it
you're going to
well.
continue to see that diversity. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I it's a play they want to run. It's a play they want to be a staple of their run game.
I
They
also
want to be
think
able to build stuff off of it also.
outside zone just didn't mesh with this personnel very much last year, and I think it's something that they wanna be able to do. But in the past 2 years, it's like they would start with some outside zone at the beginning of the season and then not go back to it. All right, so here's slot fade, right?
Mhm.
So who is that taking off?
I can't tell. What's frustrating is nobody else is running around here really. It's probably
Yeah.
Keon.
No, not real routes. Yeah.
No, I
No,
think
I
it's
actually
Jaheim.
I don't think it is Keon actually.
I think it's Jaheim Bell.
Yeah, it's Gene Bell.
So yeah, this is slot fade. This is one of their go-to passing plays, right? The two goals of it are essentially you get to have the deep route, and usually it's your receiver on a lesser coverage guy, right? He's going to be on a nickel instead of a true outside corner, and he has more space to the sideline to deliver the pass. So that's the advantages of running a slot fade. And you're hoping to get more of that. There was good separation on that.
JT
but
just missed him.
yeah, he missed him.
I'm curious to see if I mean, it's pretty well documented. We talked about it quite a bit. I know Brendan has talked about it, written about it, like how JT regressed as a vertical thrower last year.
Yeah, he did.
And we don't know whether 2022 was just playing way above his head, or if 2023 was the real him, or if 2023 was aided by injury. We know there was some bumps and bruises before the broken leg, obviously.
That and the receivers like Jordan, there was a lot of instances like we saw Jordan missed him, but like Keon Coleman's contested catch rate from Michigan State to Florida State dropped pretty significantly. I saw, so that was a part of it too. It was, you don't want to know if it was 2022 the exception or the rule, but there was a lot of it looked a little bit out of sync last year at some points in the vertical game.
I would agree.
That is something to watch out for. Maybe that was a timing issue because he had less time with. Although he didn't have much time with Johnny Wilson before the 2022 season.
Well, those guys also didn't practice a whole lot last year either. I mean, they missed a ton of time just practice wise.
See, this is something you might miss with you're going to miss with Jordan Travis. I mean, this is just a play very few players in the country make.
You're hoping you are going to block this a little bit better.
Yeah.
They just miscommunicate it, and Byers lets the guy go because he thinks Meach is going to take him over, and then Meach is going out wide.
But this is what I'm saying. You need Byers to be better to have an efficient offense because DJ's not going to make this play. He might be more likely to make that slot fade, though.
So that's where you said that's highlighting the differences of what it's going to be. Some of that improvisation, some of that escapability is going to be gone. And it's going to be replaced by durability and maybe a more consistent deep ball. So it's an interesting team to watch this year. We've seen a lot of pistols so far in this game. We talked about formations earlier. Do we think that's one that's going to serve the Florida State offense well? I feel like Roydell's going to run good out of it, right?
Well, it's a backfield set you would want to use Jalen Lucas out of because you could hide him behind DJ. I mean, that's
good
a nice one of the best parts about using the pistols. You hide the back behind him, and he can get lost. And a guy like Jalen Lucas is obviously going to get lost. And, if you want to run outside zone, I mean, it's a great backfield set to run outside zone out of.
Yeah, good call, Adam.
And then especially when you play action, I mean, that's the nice part about the pistols. It gives you that element of downhill, and you can keep your play action.
I mean, DJ was a lot more comfortable. It seemed he was a lot more comfortable under center at Oregon State than he was in shotgun at Clemson. I think he does well with those more traditional kind of drop base passing game things.
We've seen what Clemson does to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So here's where you get some of this play action. You get some of this more hard play action out of the pistol. Biscuit. Pour one out for my homie.
That'd be interesting to see like a Landon Thomas in that position right there.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like another year progressed Jackson.
A little more dynamic of an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan had some good stuff in his tee today, or I guess yesterday if you're watching this, about the tight end room.
Yeah, way more positive than I expected. So
That's pretty bullish on Kyle Morlock. We'll see it. I got to see it to believe it.
Fun fact: Oregon State was the #1 team in the country in passing efficiency on pistol plays.
Ooh,
that is a
But
fun
that's 10
fact.
attempts.
Oh, dude, see, now you got to lie with statistics. This is
Data.
fun.
I didn't lie.
I wouldn't expect to see much speed option with DJ.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe more power read though.
Yeah,
So
maybe a little more power read, quarterback power.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I
mean, that's the thing that was never built into this, and maybe should have been on our lists if we would have talked it through a little more thorough, I guess, is just getting your +1 in the run game with the quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
continuing to be able to run him.
You've got DJ for a year, like you kind of need to run him.
Well, to me, I think that is incorporated in that whole efficient running game. He's a big weapon in your running game, falling forward, getting short yardage. Florida State has been an inconsistent short yardage team pretty much every single year that Mike Norvell has been here. Like, obvious running downs have been the bane of this team's existence for the most part. And a lot of that's had to do with the offensive lines that Mike Norvell's had during his time here. But even last year with an improved offensive line, they were much more cohesive as a pass blocking unit than a run blocking unit. And there was still for a team that went 13-0 in the regular season and conference championship game, people were bemoaning all of the creative ways that they had to try to score touchdowns on the 2-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
But
so it's going to help that.
It should.
So you want to see it here? A couple interesting stats that kind of back this up.
Love stats.
Last year, FSU was 111th in rush success rate.
Yeah.
But they were 9th in rushes per touchdown.
I don't know what that means.
So that means that on each individual run, they were not very successful. They only 40% of their runs they were successful in. Judging by
they were very boomer bust.
Right. But every 15th run on average, they scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild to think. Yeah. Very boomer bust. And I think a lot of that has to do with Trey Benson and even Jordan Travis as a runner.
But Jordan didn't run much. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
That's
more speaking 2022.
Yeah. As a whole, they've got to be better there.
They got to be more consistent blocking.
They need to block it a lot better, and I think that we're going to see that. I mean, I think they've made a concerted effort. You let Bless Harris go to keep Jeremiah Byers around because you think that Byers is going to be a better pass blocker or a run blocker, and we've seen that play out.
We've seen improvement from him too, definitely.
You go get a good vision back, sturdy. My feature ball carrier on NCAA 25, by the way. And Roydell Williams.
Gotta catch that, big man.
Yeah, so this is just an RPO, it looks like. You gotta I always say I expect more from them, but they just ever since they came to Florida State, that they do not live on the RPO like they did at Memphis. No matter the quarterback.
So we don't think that was
half with Tate.
They don't, and you don't think that that's like a Jordan Travis comfort issue. You just think it's something that they've kind of de-emphasized since his time here.
I really expected to see them do it against Florida with Tate, like lean on it, and I don't think much at all. So I'm not convinced that's something that they're super excited to get back to. Because I mean, when Jordan ran it, he ran it pretty well. But yeah, there could be the argument that he doesn't have the height to efficiently run or throw the ball over the middle.
I think that they're to the point where they would rather get into the right play as opposed to trying to RPO things. Like they'd rather check at the line and get into a different play than
right. And I think there's some
I'm going to pull this ball and throw it to this guy.
And that's what the quarterback's been in the system for a couple of years. I wonder if like DJ's not going to have the luxury of having as many years in the system as Jordan Travis had him. Maybe they'll get back into a little bit more RPO because he's not going to be as fluent with all the checks as Jordan was. You can see he's direct every single play we're watching. There's Jordan so much communication pre-snap.
Right.
Can you go back to this? Go back to the wide shot. This is a slot fade where Jordan Travis makes the right read.
Well, they just don't.
I mean, no one covers the guy. But at least you know that, like, it's not a dummy, you know? That route exists.
Job on the O-line. Yeah, dude. Easy money. Pistol again. A lot of pistol.
Yeah,
How
they're
much-
living out a pistonless game.
Kev, talk about motion. I know you're a proponent of running more motion.
Will
I
we
mean-
see it more this year?
Motion's just kind of become the thing. If you look in the NFL, you've got the Shanahan offenses and that whole tree running tons of motion, tons of zone, tons of eye candy, giving quarterbacks pre-snap information. You can see if guys are being chased. It might be less important in college because, I don't think these defenses are really disguising their stuff very well.
No.
So I think someone who's experienced can tell without the motion. And at the end of the day, I think they really trust their playmakers to go up there, line up, and win. And I can say I think motion helps. I think if you look at the playoff, if you watched Washington's offense last year, they used a lot of motion, and I think it made life a little bit easier on the quarterback. But Norvell seems to do without it, and his quarterbacks tend to do pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a school of thought of how it impacts the run game and specifically run blocking when you start moving guys around. So there are pros and cons to it. I think there's generally more pros, but they seem to want to be stationary. But sometimes you get a quarterback that doesn't like it. I know there's a lot of talk about, like, with Jalen Hurts, the Eagles run no motion, and a lot of the conversations based around, like, Jalen Hurts just doesn't like guys moving around. Peyton Manning never wanted to motion anybody. I mean, you get quarterbacks that just don't want to see guys moving around in front of them. They want to process what's there and then process it post snap, and they'll figure it out. So I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things that Jordan Travis is just uncomfortable with. We don't have much sample size at Florida State of Mike Norvell without Jordan Travis as a quarterback.
And that's another great data point. We don't really know how he operates without Jordan Travis very consistently. It'll be interesting.
Right.
It'll be interesting if there is a difference.
So I paused here because I wanted to talk about it when we were talking about, like, run game stuff, and, like, DJ's importance in the effectiveness of it and the efficiency. Like, this is a case where, like, the quarterback's got to pull this ball. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 12 was not giving him a pull read.
Who makes this?
The guy, he's
tackle,
Smith, Mo's guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Mo gets worked.
Damn it.
Well, that's the efficient run game point. That's a dude who I think is going to be surrounded by more consistent guard play, but that's a guy who's coming back next year, and he's got to make that block. If you have a lot of those instances with this 2024 Florida State offense, there's not enough an overall talent level to recover, and that's when you start going from, like, talking about 10 wins to, like, you don't know where you get to.
Screen game. We know we're going to keep seeing this.
Yeah, I wonder if so they do motion here. I wonder if part of it is motion allows defensive linemen to time up snaps a little bit better. Makes you a little bit predictable.
A little bit.
Well, there's I know they're going to do it a lot this year, and they should, with, like, Keziah Holmes and Toafili and Jalen Lucas, but I thought that they were a poor screen team last year, and that really disappointed me. I'd really like
hit some big ones, though. I mean,
I know, but there was a lot of blown up ones. I don't know. It felt like the execution was very spotty on those, where I thought that they were going to be a really good screen team last year.
So I'm watching this, and so far, I mean, have these, like, all-star receiving core really just kind of won us over? Tron dropped an important pass. There have been a couple missed throws. This is a good play, but I think you have guys on the roster that can catch a slant with this much cushion.
They didn't catch them in the spring.
That's true. And DJ he throws the heck out of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that some of what the issue was in the spring was guys just not being used to catching that ball.
Yeah, say what you want about Jordan Travis. He threw a catchable ball.
Is that a pull right there, Adam?
What's that?
I mean, you were talking about pull earlier. Is this an option?
I don't think he has the opportunity to pull the ball here.
Yeah, I think they've got a two-man surface. Or
I don't think that they are going to let him pull the ball here.
No, he wasn't reading. He wasn't reading the end anyway. Yeah.
I think the rule of thumb is if there's a tight end on that side, they're not reading it.
Yeah.
It changes depending on the fronts, but yeah, I don't think they were trying to read that. So you got stacks wide. Maybe you can get away with that a little bit more. You've got DJ who can kind of get the ball out there. So there might be a thought that you can take some stuff from what Tennessee does.
Run some duo.
They got some good movement in the middle of that offensive line. Adam, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's good.
Can we see the other angle? Yeah.
So they're running duo here. We saw them run a little bit more against Miami.
It's hard to run duo on this front too. They're essentially making you not run duo. Great job by Dimitri Emmanuel.
Yeah, nice help. But then he gets to the second level. You think we're going to see more than that in 2024? I want us to run it more in 2024.
I hope so. I think they're built for it now.
And by duo, just explain that concept to people who may be a little bit new to the videos. When you talk about duo in the run game, what do you mean?
Well, it's essentially a double team, and then you're going to have a two-way read for your running back. So here they're going to double this up to that guy. So right guard, center, up to this guy, and they're going to have a duo read for the running back. If the linebacker goes here, he's going to go there. If the linebacker goes here, he's going to go there.
Yeah, and the reason why duo is kind of hard, not hard, but it loses effectiveness against this front. This front's kind of made to blow up duo and inside zone. Because in theory, with duo, you want as many double teams as possible.
Correct.
And because they're gapped up this way, where there's 5 men essentially on the line of scrimmage to 5 blockers, it makes it a lot harder to double, right?
Yeah,
so
you can't only get one. You can't double a 4-eye and a nose. I guess it really is a 3, but
right, you can only double one of the two of them.
Right. Yeah.
So here, that's why this tight front is so popular.
You'd want to run a little more of a gap scheme here, in theory, but they do a nice job of blocking it. I mean,
they do.
Darius digs out the 3.
Right. If you have a Darius Washington that can reach a 4-eye,
dude, that's tough.
You can run.
I mean, and that's Ruben Bain, who is pretty damn good.
That's tough. That is for people that aren't aware of that. That is a tough block for that right tackle for that guy who's playing in that gaff, not to just knife in and blow up the play.
Yeah, right here. I mean, think of this. I mean, Dimitri Emmanuel is going to step down here, and chuck this dude and then climb.
Yeah,
I mean,
pause it right here.
All Bain's got to do is keep coming up the field, and
right there.
Look at the gap that presents itself. Darius does a good job of getting inside and cutting him off.
Yeah, this defense is literally designed to blow up this play, and they do a great job blocking.
Yeah, the first thing that catches you is the duo block, but to me, 76's block, that is blocking with urgency and awareness, knowing that if that guy knifes in, the whole play is blown up.
So awesome. Here, if this nose were to come here, then Meach is going to take him, and Mo's going to climb. But the nose comes this way, so Meach is going to get him out of there, and then he's going to climb, which tells the back, all right, I'm going this direction.
Yeah. Very, very similar inside zone, but
there's some similarities. It's more of a, I guess it's got some more man principles.
Yeah. It's classified as a man blocking scheme.
Yeah. I don't know. Duo is one of those ones that's freaking wild and crazy.
What a drive, dude. So much diversity on that long, time-consuming drive.
Or stacks. Here's
outside zone. And this is what was so frustrating last year. You were one block away so many times.
Always.
And you
Jones just isn't fast enough.
The right guard.
Yeah.
But isn't the goal for
Mo the goal is for Mo to get off of.
Yeah, can you go to the other angle? Might be easier to see.
He just couldn't disengage, really.
Yeah, Mo's got to get off of Taylor, but Taylor, you can't get off of him. Taylor's just better.
Yeah. The goal is for Mo to pass him off to 75 so Mo can reach that linebacker.
Yeah. So this to get here, him to overtake, and then 53 to get over the top of the linebacker, but just can't do it.
Yeah.
He's also getting held, which doesn't help.
Do you think we're going to see more outside zone in 2024 or less? I mean, looks like a lot of good play action could be built. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
More. I mean, with Lucas, LT, I think Roydell runs it well.
Yeah.
I think you're built to run it more, but it's not an easy play to run. And they got bigger, and maybe I guess they're more athletic up there. I mean, Richie's more athletic than Meach, and
Get him, Trey.
Ferguson is way more athletic
Athletic
than
Jones or Roddick, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, you need the offensive line to take a step up. You need it.
They kind of have to, and you need Mo to have a healthy season or like play somebody else a little bit.
So that looked more like zone. So see how they're not just like immediately doubling on someone. They're kind of stepping a direction, looking for somebody. They don't see it. They kind of move their way up.
Oh, come on, man.
Old Trey. He'll miss that toughness, but I think Rodell runs pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rodale's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be a lot of falling forward, a lot of runs for this team.
Man, watching Miami's defense is like watching a 12-year-old play NCAA 25. Where are your safeties, dude?
Trying to run speed option. Well, they're in man coverage.
Yeah, they're just all out doing it, and FSU didn't care.
They just sell out. I mean, they just say, look, we're going to bring pressure. And
it's third and short, I guess. You don't want to throw the ball. They're daring you to throw the ball.
You gotta be able to protect it.
Yep. Well, you gotta be able to get a 1 yard run even when they're pinning their ears back. That's arguably the wrong read by Jordan Travis.
I was gonna say,
if he pitches it there, that's probably a touchdown. Right.
Yeah.
There.
Now.
Yeah, he did a good job holding on to it long enough, but like you said, he's probably just trying to convert, right?
Yeah. I think they can run some speed option. You don't necessarily need a fast quarterback to be able to do that.
No, I don't know. It doesn't strike me as DJ's game.
I mean, EJ Manuel ran it at FSU.
It's true. We're outside zone with LT here. I mean,
yeah, well blocked.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're just one little reach. Is this Keandre, right guard?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to work up to a linebacker, and he just doesn't get enough of him.
It's underneath him.
Yeah,
he's just not athletic in space. I mean, that's his downfall.
That kid's a good linebacker. That
he is.
I forget his name. He's the transfer they
got.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's their tackles, brother.
So we picked this game. Not a lot of course, this is a point of the season where Jaheim Bell has been dinged up pretty good, but not a lot of 12. So, and that's one that we talked about. There's a nice little RPO to Johnny.
Yeah, same RPO.
Yep.
And you had this against Miami all day. They were stacking the box. I mean, I remember this being a constant conversation. Look, you have 6 blockers to their 7 defenders. So you have one-on-ones on the outside. But I mean, it's credit to FSU. I said they had the 111th best success rate running, but they've been able to move the ball pretty effectively on the ground so far.
We know it falls apart.
Yep.
Scheme gets ugly.
I'll say, man, I don't know if it's just like happenstance from like a formational standpoint, Adam. I think a lot of what we saw in that first couple drives, we're going to be seeing a lot of that in 2024. Because I think DJ's comfortable running sets like that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm assuming this is second half at this point. So
I think you're going to see a lot of pistol. I think you're going to see a lot of play action.
Who's that, Destin?
No, that's
Keon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so you're going to miss a little bit of this. This is Keon being Keon, making a 4-yard gain.
Miss it a little bit more than just a little bit. I mean, he was dinged up, so he wasn't 100%. But
I mean, think about the punt return he had against Duke.
All that
just returns, I just don't know if you've got an alpha like that. And alphas in the wide receiver room are valuable,
very valuable. Because now you got to cap them.
Yeah, you got to pay. They're paying a lot of attention to him and Johnny.
Yeah, look at this.
Of course, we're talking about alphas, and here's Ja'Kai Douglas.
Ja'Kai Douglas does not get enough love.
But that's because they're driving. But look, it's because
they've had to put 2 safeties
back.
They're
driving 2 on Keon.
Yep.
Boom and boom. And he's in man coverage, and he's driving on Keon instead of
That's
Ja'Kai Douglas.
Ja'Kai smooth, man. Really good spatial awareness on when to like sit into those zones on the defense and then accelerate right afterwards. He worked himself into a great position there.
On NCAA 25, he doesn't get caught. I'll say that.
This year you won't, man. You made a good point, Kev. He's a very valuable piece of this offense that's been overlooked.
All right, here's red zone. Let's see how we do. I'm gonna guess this turns into a field goal. Trying to run shovel pass.
I think you may be correct, dude.
That makes me want to puke.
This is the thing, though.
They send too much pressure to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, FSU got cute. You've got man coverage on the outside, and you got Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson out there. Like, you got to let your players win, right? Like,
You think?
But this is Norvell. This is who he wants to be. He wants to be able to run the ball in this situation. He wants to be able to say, I don't care how many people you have in the box. I don't care if you want a one-on-one Keon and Johnny in the red zone. I'm going to run the ball on you. Although, here's a missed block.
This is fun. You got to block that.
Is that Jackson West?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're expecting a lot from him.
That's a fun play. The turn motion. I mean, that's fun stuff that you would like to see. I'd like to see them do some of this in the middle of the field. It always feels like this. They see this stuff for the red zone. It's like, I mean, this stuff works at the 50 also.
That's a good point. There really is a lot of the creativities on the scripted plays and a lot of the red zone stuff. And it's like, yeah, bring it out in the green zone.
Yeah,
I think it's okay to work as a chunk play I think
this got a lot of criticism, but this is actually a really creative way to take advantage of those one-on-ones outside.
West has just got to make a block.
Well, imagine that to like Jalen Lucas or some of those other guys that can convert to like that speed. Yeah, I know. And yeah, it's fun. It's a good design.
Yeah, you're hoping Jackson West has developed. He still hadn't got, I don't know, he's got another year of reps. He was still relatively kind of green in this season.
So we're trying to run Jordan down on the goal line.
Let's get smoked.
You look. I mean, it's well documented. The tight ends were.
Yeah, all three of your tight ends kind of missed something.
And I think Darius. No, it's not Darius.
Okay, so the guy that catches him from behind, I think, is supposed to be unblocked.
That dude? Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's the Reed guy.
Yeah. And Jordan Travis gets around him, but there's no blockers ahead of him.
Yeah. They're just missing. We're missing stuff on the front side.
Yeah. So
he's going to be here.
Pause it right after the snap, and we can kind of see where they're going. Because I mean, this is for the most part your returning tight end room.
All right, so they're on 20. He's going to wrap on 19. 76 here has got to get up to 51.
I think 85 blocks out on 51.
Yes, you're correct. Sorry.
And 75 will get on 11.
85's got to come here, though. He can't be way out there. Okay, that's a little better.
And I mean, Jackson West keeps his guy at bay. Yeah, I think if you get a good block on 19 by Morlock.
I think Morlock's a little wide here on the wrap.
You might have something if Morlock makes this block.
Yeah, you can really. That's got to get cleaned up.
Yeah, you need the offensive line and the tight end room to take steps up with a lot of the same personnel. I think it's possible. I think Morlock had a big learning curve coming to D1 from Division II.
Apparently, according to Brendan, he was under 240 last year also, which doesn't help.
So here you are running inside zone or duo against just a not friendly front for it.
These are keep it honest runs, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're up at this point or close to being up, trying to stay.
Yeah, this opens up the play action, right?
Johnny. Yeah, you're going to miss that.
Yeah, who's the guy that's going to be able to make he had a lot of, for all the talk about his hands, man, it was the tough catches that Johnny Wilson had that really kind of defined his career at Florida State. I think he doesn't get enough credit for those. Yeah, I wonder who's going to be the guy in that situation. Is that a Kentron? Is that like Hakeem Williams? Like, who's going to be that
Who's the number 9? Who's the 9 wide receiver, man? That's the question of the day, right?
I don't know.
You need Hakeem to be it.
Yeah, or
Frankly.
Pentron. I mean, one of the two.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think necessarily either one is Johnny Wilson,
No.
but
I mean, I think Hakeem's ceiling could be greater than Johnny's, but
sure.
as a true sophomore, is he there yet? Probably not.
And we talked about at the beginning of the video, kind of the second tenet is an explosive passing game. I have not seen that really so far, other than the big Ja'Kai Douglas chunk throw, which is
that was a 4-yard throw.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the type of explosive passing that I think that we're built for this year.
Explosive run play.
Every 15,
you get that man in the second level, and good luck.
Good old counter. You catch him in a blitz.
You catch him in a blitz with a bad box. Bad pursuit angle by the outside linebacker.
And crappy safeties.
Yeah, those safeties are bad.
You think that's a touchdown, even if it's a Toafili in the backfield or like a Roydell, or is that something that just kind of Benson's like
this is maybe not
this is Benson being special.
I think most people get tackled there at like the 15.
I mean, he's pretty damn explosive.
So it's gonna look different. It's gonna look different.
Yeah, I think we expect maybe more like 15-yard runs this year, as opposed to some of the 80s, but less of the like 3-yard. More of those 3-yard runs are going to turn into 5 and 6,
and a lot less of the negative ones that we saw last year.
This is something I think they're working on, trying to get DJ out of the pocket to get him comfortable moving around. They've talked a lot about trying to kind of get him to throw off platform, and that'll be important.
Well, because it's something he hasn't been very good at over his career, right, Kev?
Doesn't a penalty bring this back? So, yeah, interesting screen. Long developing play action screen. What was that, Trey?
I was going to say they're getting him to throw off platform because traditionally it has not been a strength of his game where he's been. Like on the run, he's not been a very accurate quarterback in general, but on the run,
he
even less
his mechanics when he gets out there moving around.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm looking into this more and more, but I have a feeling that Oregon State being under center kind of allows him to get his feet settled a little bit better than he does in a shotgun. But I can't say that for sure.
Here's some fun formational diversity for you, Trey.
Quads.
Yeah, and are we going to see that next year, though? With the wide receiver room and what they want to do with DJ?
So.
This has always been his MO.
Mike's going to find this kind of stuff that he's going to present them box matchups.
Unbalanced sets have always been something that he's
a matchup coach. He really likes to get those matchups.
I don't think they get the look here that they thought they were going to get, though. Well, no, never mind. Mo just misses the block.
Mo's getting whooped this game.
Well, and in fairness to him, I mean, that's a dude probably shouldn't have been playing, but was.
Yeah.
A couple more plays here.
I'd say so because, I think so.
I think we've gotten the gist of what we're talking about.
So you got a spread trips formation. Man, even in this, you're just not winning one-on-ones. They were not afraid to line up man coverage on the outside and just challenge FSU.
You just didn't have speed that could beat guys. I mean, it's well documented. I mean, Keon went out and ran a 4.7?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like they're losing talented dudes in that wide receiver room, but you're looking at this game, guys. There's been no separation from these like NFL draft picks that we've seen.
No, there was no potential for an explosive passing game because you didn't have guys that could run deep.
You essentially had like all your best guys were big-bodied receivers. You had Keon, you had Johnny, you had Jaheim.
Especially since guys like Ja'Kai were banged up at the beginning of the year, things like that.
Yep.
Like you didn't have those agile, shifty space slot fade merchants that
you didn't have any lightning to go with the thunder.
Yeah.
But now you might have the opposite problem.
Yeah, you might have too much lightning.
Oh God. We're getting so meteorological here.
But that's when you need someone. That's when you need Morlock to step up. That's when you need Kentron to step up. Like you need bigger bodied options. And, maybe they come from the tight end room. Morlock's supposed to be a guy,
I agree. All right. I think
Yeah.
we've hit what we needed to hit. And I think to me, this was an encouraging game because I see a lot of 2024 Florida State adopted a lot of the concepts as like first 3-drive 2023 Florida State against Miami. Like they have those pistol sets in their book. They have the inside zone. They got the duo. They got the outside zone. They can build play action off of that. They've got – we didn't see a ton of tight end plays where they were taking advantage of the middle of the field. So that's something that's going to have to be an active thing that they incorporate. As far as like an efficient running game, when they hold their blocks with a healthy team, we've said it all year, they were always one block away. And formational diversity wise, I'm not worried about that with Mike Norvell. One thing we didn't see that we mentioned, 2 running back sets. That wasn't
Mhm.
that was not a staple of this. And I don't know
No.
if it was matchup dependent, but I think you've got a lot of the way that you have fun combinations at defensive end on the defensive side of the ball that play off each other. You have really fun running back combinations when you start getting like Roydell Williams mixed with the Jalen Lucas, Lawrence Toafili with Keziah Holmes. You start working at Cam Davis in there. Like there's some fun stuff to play with in both the running game and the passing game that can stress defenses. But I'm encouraged because the things that we want to see, Norvell does. He's just got to start messing with the sliders on what he does more and what he does
Mhm.
less. So how do you guys feel after watching and kind of analyzing it in a way where we're wish casting some of the things that we want to see for next year? Are we confident that with the roster that Florida State has, they have all the pieces to have a successful offense next year?
I mean, I would say that you need to win the line of scrimmage. Florida State was doing an okay job against Miami winning the line of scrimmage, but it wasn't something that was consistent enough all year round to win you games. You saw in some of these key games, you needed explosive plays to win. That's not necessarily true for all teams. And you've invested in this offensive line. You've invested time and energy and resources into the transfer portal, into high school kids. And now you need this offensive line to be the star. And in my opinion, I think that's what you need to build your team around. You're going to need less whiffed blocks. You need that success rate to go up. And I think you can have a fairly successful offense. If anybody can do it, I trust Mike Norvell to find what works for this team. Because I think if you're going to give him credit as a play caller for anything, it's that he typically he's willing to change what he does in order to find the most successful thing for his kids. And I think he'll do it again.
Amen, brother. Testify. It is nice to have a flexible coach with a flexible offensive philosophy and a dude who's willing to do whatever he can to just get points. He wants points. We saw that, especially with a lot of the creativity near the red zone. Adam, what do you feel like? I'm with you with the loss of like Jordan Travis, Kev. An offensive line is always important because we've seen what can happen when it's bad. It is really important for the health of this offense because that escapability, that kind of like magical improvisational quality that you got with Jordan Travis, you're not getting that next year.
Mhm.
You're getting different things. You're getting a quarterback in DJU that does things better than Jordan Travis, but man, the running game's got to be a threat and they got to be able to block. Right, Adam?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that's why they sunk resources into that. I mean, you go out and get a TJ Ferguson, you go out and get a Richie Leonard who's got a ton of experience. You bring Jacob Rizzi in from
Harvard.
as a potential center backup for Mo and maybe play some guard also. You kept Keandre Jones around. Bryson Estes, you've sunk resources into him to help him to continue to develop as a player. You move Julian Armella into guard. I mean, I think that they understand like that offensive line's got to be more of a force at this point. It's got to go win them some games at times this year. So I think that they understand what they need to do to make DJ be the best version of himself. And that starts with having a competent, successful run game with a high success rate. And then building your passing attack off of all of those things. Using the pistol, utilizing those things, those backfield sets that are going to make DJ comfortable, allow the run game to be downhill oriented, and then let him be comfortable with the play action off of it. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I think there's some yin and yang with DJ and JT. I mean, JT was elusive and could run around and make crazy throws, but he lost some accuracy on the deep ball. I think DJ throws a pretty good deep ball, can be pretty successful and put it where he needs to. I also think he can. We've criticized his passing game in the past as being kind of generic at times, and vanilla. And I think the DJ maybe opens some of that stuff up for you now because he can make every throw. Whereas we know that JT, we love him to death, and I hate to talk about him like in any type of negative fashion. We know there were throws that he just couldn't make from one hash to another, to the sideline or whatever. Like that's out the door with DJ. DJ can make every throw. So like, what's that look like for this offense? How does that open the passing game? There are just so many unknowns, I feel like, going into the season.
Absolutely. A lot of unknowns, but the one thing that you are going to know is that the best football coverage is here with X's and Knowles and Knowles247.com. You are the best fan base. We are getting into camp season. I think that puts a wrap on this video. If you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, do it. Preseason is the time to do it. So do it. Notifications on. Subscribe. If you're not a Knowles247.com member, shame. It is the time to get on because you're going to need to have something interesting to talk about during the season. Just steal all the stuff from the Knowles247.com message board and pretend it's your own brilliant ideas. Your coworkers will never know, and you will become the guru of sports knowledge at the water cooler. If by any chance those even exist in offices anymore, this is probably irrelevant because everybody's working at Zoom. Either way, Knowles247.com. Guys, we love you. We are excited. Camp is it's right there on the horizon, and we're going to be with you every step of the way, breaking down all the stuff that you need to know to become the most informed Florida State fan on the block. We love you. Thank you for watching. Keep chopping.